Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Artcast. This is a special end of October roundup of a month-long project that I was involved in called I called it Momsters 2017 because this is something I attempted for the last 2 years, and I finally accomplished what I wanted to do this a year, which is produce a new limited color palette, like one of those color palette challenges, but with like a different monster things. I made a list of cartoon moms because, yeah, obviously. And then I made a list of different Halloween monsters ranging from like your basics, Frankenstein, vampire, things like that. And I got creative with a few things, a few entries, as you'll see. And I basically typed one of those color palette challenge things and just tried my best to see what I could come up with. Oh, well, hello, Bat. Nice to see you. Paladin, always a pleasure. Josh Brony. Pony. Well, you're a Brony. But anyway, so yeah, and that's just a little placeholder for this. Does that show up on the... No, it doesn't. That's cool. No. Okay. Hey, Toby. How's it going? So I guess we're going to start with, first of all, Mrs. Katswell as a vampire. So let me open up another... Let's see, that's artwork. That's posted. I'm going to be including other things. And this is just going to be an easy way to kind of get in and just give you a closer looks at what I've done here. Oh, just wait. Yeah, I didn't save any of the palettes, so that was annoying. Oh, hold on. I'm going to minimize this so I can see all you. Yeah, here we go. Hello, Becky. Like the new profile pic, CR. Huh? I didn't... What profile pic? I didn't change my profile. Oh, like your new profile pic. Oh yeah, it's great. I can barely see it because it's so far back. Well, anyway, this is Mrs. Katswell, Kitty Katswell's mom from Tough Puppy. Sort of a favorite among my circles. Let's see who does a good. I'm thinking of Joe Lasco, who does like a really good drawing of her. But anyway, I was vampire, and this kind of... The colors are a little bit different on this monitor, but it's kind of like a dingy brownish kind of palette. This is one of the first ones I ever did, so... I'm looking at this hand right here, and I'm thinking maybe I could have done something a little bit better with that. And there's 31 of these, so I guess we can kind of just shift through this. Yes, that is right, Bugga. Very thick. She only appeared in the series like a total of maybe a minute, and yet there's lots and lots of fan art of her. Because she's cute. She's like Kitty Katswell, except she's, a little rounder, a little shorter, a little more profound in certain areas. And then the vampire was sort of easy. I was able to put in the coffin and the different shadings and stuff like that. I'm very proud of the things I was able to kind of get out of the backgrounds this year because of just experimenting with like I said, I've done this 2 years before. I failed miserably the 2 previous years. One time I got like 7 out, and then the other one I got like 2 out. You're going to see some other ones. In fact, here, I have older years in this file right here. Yeah, this one didn't even look like it's on model. This was when I just started to use, say, a paint. And, yeah, this is way more on model. I was able to use sort of the colors to make more outlines and different things. Although this is nice. I'll use outlines a lot this year. But anyway, this is the first year, and this is now. So I think I've actually improved a lot in terms of just staying on model and stuff like that. But, yeah. What else to say about this? This is one of the first ones. I actually went through like 3 different versions of Seiya. I went through the original version I had. I went through a sort of in-betweenish between like a updated version, and then I got the brand new spanking Seiya version 2, I guess it's called. So, I'm sorry, I hid the chat. I'm gonna look and see what we got here. Like maybe the violets and the browns. Yep. Yep. Let's go and let's close this, and let's go to the next. Okay, but I kind of like this one. Unfortunately, during this whole process, this month-long process, was a lot of things were sort of up in the air. In terms of things I had to get done. I think I drew this. I sketched this one while I was over at, well, thank you, Josh Brony. Pony, Josh, I keep saying Pony. I drew this one in the lobby of I was taking Grandma to physical therapy like twice a week, and she'd spend like an hour there. So, it's a very boring, super boring pose that I was able to kind of dress up with a little bit more of the authentic Bob's Burger setting. And of course, I'm very proud of this. Which is which? I thought of that like a long time ago. And the joke is served with one of 3 random special sauces: hot wasabi mayo, tangy lemon mustard, or sweet honey spread. And then it goes on further. Let's see. Yeah, let's just specific sauce available on request. Although it would be nice if you played along with the gimmick, get into the holiday spirit, try new things. I mean, I know some people have to worry about allergies. I don't want to get sued. Maybe this is getting a little too complicated. No, Tina, don't write any of this down. So the idea is that Tina is writing down the burger of the day, which is which comes with these random sauces, and Bob's rambling on, and Tina is just doing what she's told and writing it down. I think it's okay. I mean, a lot of the other ones are a little bit, how can I put this? The poses are a little bit nicer. They're a little bit more dynamic. Hey, Skinny Zach, how's it going? I mean, I love Linda. I think she's adorable, and I think she would do something like this. But I don't know. I think the pose is just a little bit, and the burger's a little. It looks something like. It looks something, but there's a few other things. Oh no, I know what I was. I sketched this out in the chiropractor's office. It's not chiropractor. It's physical therapy. And I did this while I was over at my uncle's. I took my computer and my laptop, and I just cranked this one out because, like I said, I had to do these once a day. And I got a pretty good cushion. I think I got like maybe 10 done off on the side. So that way, if anything happened, I would just post one a day without having to worry. That got quickly depleted. But yeah, I think she'd do something like this. I think the pose is a little boring. I think a lot of the magic comes from the background and everything, and that joke. So, yeah. Although I think that's a neat drawing of her. I like it. And the green and the pink was a pretty good. I'm trying to think. It wasn't a choice. It was a pretty good selection out of the random colors. Let's see which the next one is. Oh, damn. Okay, this one's good. This one's good. This one, again, it's kind of boring, but I kind of made up for it with what is going on with Lydia's outfit, actually. Because, I mean, by the way, that last one was Witch. This one's Frankenstein, which, as you can see from the bolts in the neck, the stitches on the skin. Also, just the stitches. Oh, and I put bolts on her ankles. I don't know why. I was just like, why not? Oh, cool, Zach. You got Sig. I don't know what dragon that is, but in Hearthstone, that's cool. I got to stream Hearthstone tomorrow, too. But yeah, the outfit is sort of made up. Oh, crap. I forgot the stitches there. That's okay. This one looks okay. You can kind of tell what's going on there. The sweater is made up of several different patterns, like polka dots, stripes, swirls, cross hatching, and then stitches in the leggings. So, and then lightning coming and hitting the bolts, and then little sparks off to the side. Again, a little bit, kind of not the most dramatic pose, although I think it's pretty neat. Her boobs are way too big. I took some liberties with that. I think this was one of the ones where I was trying to I had like maybe a 2-day cushion, and I was just trying to produce things. Again, I don't know. I kind of like it. That looks okay without the stitching. I mean, it doesn't match, but that's fine. And of course, she's taking her scarf off. And by the way, this is Lydia from Pepper Ann. She's just a fun, Frankenstein, energetic. She is energetic. I'm surprised how these random selections worked out very, very nice. Just in terms of what I was able to kind of pull out of, like, these things shouldn't really fit together that much, but they really kind of did. I found a way to make them all work out. The color choice was pretty good. Like I said, here's an outline. When I wasn't able to make up a new color, I was able to just go with outlines. And then of course you have flat, lineless color sections to just make different shapes and different textures and different things like that. So yeah, I'm actually very proud of this one. I think it's very vibrant. I think it's pretty fun. I maybe could have done a little something better with the background, but I think it's suitable. I think it's more than suitable. I think it's nice because there is negative space was a big problem, especially when it's all the same sort of square for each figure. But this one is up there. I think it is one of my favorites. It might be one of the top 10. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, okay, Maria Rivera from El Tigre. Yeah, this one, I mean, I like it. I like the hair. I like the pose. I think the head is a little bit too big, but that's okay. She's like a little fairy. And again, fairy, not very Halloween. This was kind of like one of the bottom of the barrel. The list I came up with, it had 50 moms, and it had 38 costumes. And fairy was one of those filler ones. But I like the pose. I think I did pretty well in capturing just her body shape and everything. The colors, they look like Christmas, don't they? And the actual monster sort of looks Christmassy. Or you could say it looks kind of like Zelda. Which, yeah, you could say that. But again, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Christmas fairy. But people really did like this one when I put it up there. And again, I like the pose. I like the motion with the hair. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, I never showed you the previous Linda. Let's see. I showed you Linda, and then here's the Linda. Here, I can go back a little bit. I think we're done with this one. I really like this one, but it's just kind of... Yeah. Here's the one previous years ago. Again, I think I've gotten better with staying on model. Oh, of course, this one, I didn't spend that much time on. I think I spent maybe a couple hours on. Or actually, no, I spent a couple hours on this one. I think I've just gotten better at eyeballing proportions and staying on model and thing. I'm quite happy with the progress I've made so far. But again, this is steampunk. And there's another steampunk character this year, and I think it's actually way better. Because this outfit's, it's okay, but it's not very... I think it's generic and not very steampunkish. But the other one's going to look real nice. Okay, so, and then we've covered Maria. Oh, wait, that's just... We've covered Maria. Oh! This one was like... Hey, Loom, how's it going? Hey, SonicBot. This one was, bottom of the barrel. I think this was the one before the very last one, the grand finale. And this is Miriam, the mage from... Miriam, of course, is from Harvey Beaks. Criminally underrated and canceled way too soon. And the actual... Oh, no, wait, no, getting ahead. The actual thing on the list was Artist's Choice. And by this time, I depleted the list. And let's see, we had gone through... I think the only one left I had on there was Nurse and Ninja. So I just made a mage. I was just like, okay, she's a mage, and I added a little D&D dice off to the side. And this one was I had 3 left, and I wanted to get those 3 done that day. So I just this one is kind of a rush job, but I really like the way it turned out, because the outfit is simple enough, but the details are okay. The color choice is not exactly so hot. I especially don't like the way the white plays off the yellow, but that's just the way the color choices just played off. And of course you have the levitating book and the hands or the little fanny that she has, and I think I forgot maybe her little bangs here, but that's okay. And she was a really fun character. She was a librarian, so that's what made me think of a mage. And D&D is pretty fun to watch around this time of year, especially with Stranger Things. And I've been watching a lot of Harmon Quest, too, which is another fantastic show. I suggest you all check that one out. It just started its 2nd season. But again, and then she was a fun character. I think there was the episode The Meteorite. Where she took all the kids and they all had a meteorite shenanigans and stuff like that. It was pretty fun. So in this one, again, this is kind of this was when the crunch happened, and I was surprised I was able to kind of pull out the things I was able to pull out, especially since around this time of year I tend to get a little stressed, and I was like, oh man, okay, just keep a cool head and just think of the first thing that comes out of your head and go with it. And this was pretty good. I enjoyed this one. Let's close that. Let's go back here. Let's get that. This one I think is the fan favorite of the people that all posted. This is, of course, Mom from Dexter's Lab as the Invisible Woman. The story, as I tried to depict, was she I keep hitting that when I mean to just move the picture around. The idea is she stepped on a remote, activated some machine, and it turned her invisible. As you can see, as it radiates, it hit this part first, so this is all invisible. And you kind of get the idea that this is just kind of forming away. I have to say that this is probably maybe the most polished of them all. Very minimalistic background, almost like something out of the 60s. But, yeah, it's just, I'm surprised I was able to get, it's minimalistic, but there's just detail with the shadow and the thickness of the lines and the feather, the feather dusting and stuff like that. And the shape of this, the apron on the thighs. This one I think is the most shared when the most shared and the most favorited when I uploaded it. So yeah, and I think it's perfect. Like the colors are great. I'm reading the notes right now. Hey Thomas, hey Lucky. So yeah, I think this one turned out really great. And again, didn't do much with the background. It was just like a minimalistic kind of thing, but it worked out pretty good. And again, Dexter's mom from Dexter's Lab, which is I think this resonated with people because people said it's something that could have happened in the actual show. Okay. This one was a bit weird. I mean, I put kaiju on the list, and then Marco's mom popped up. And this, by the way, this is just Google translated from Japanese for Angie, Angie. Marco's mom, Angie Diaz, Diaz, from Star Versus. And again, people were like, I'm surprised how these were able to connect between the creatures and the characters, because someone said, oh, well, like, this is what happens when Star did something. And she turned, I think what was the joke? It was written in context of them talking, and then Marco says, Star, what have you done? Star says, oh, I just did what your mom said. And she says, no, Mom was just sneezing. The joke there being, of course, that kaiju and achu sort of rhyme. So there you go. Again, kind of almost like a print, like a Japanese print of what might have happened with the kind of minimalistic clouds in the background, and the cityscape, and one leg being all in shadow. And I'm very happy with the way this one turned out. And again, this one I think was a lobby room. Again, I spent like at least 2 hours, no, like about 3 hours a week in this lobby, and I had nothing to do but my phone. And so I would burn the day by just sketching out these Momsters, and then I'd have to bring them home and then do something with them. Again, I'm also very happy with myself on how I've just become comfortable with taking just making something out in the wild. Like, I can now go to a restaurant and just start sketching something and then take it home and then turn it into something. Again, I've sort of been, that took me like about a good year to get comfortable with sketching the phone. Hey Joe, hey Joe, what do you know? Yeah, gonna try to cover my tracks on that one. I just mispronounced that. I'm very tired. But anyway, I'm happy with the way this one turned out. It was, again, weird. Kaiju was an interesting choice, or giant monster or whatever. Again, I'm happy I gave her the 2 horns and the little nose horn. And again, she's matching the characteristics from the actual character. She does have those kind of like lizard eyes and that big sheepish grin when she has it on the show, and I just kind of added that and just added the spiky, the razor sharp teeth. Again, that worked out really well. Okay, let's close that and let's move on to the next one. Miriam as a mummy. And again, this kind of, there was a weird thing where it was like, oh, well, is it a costume or is it a transformation? And it's a little bit of both. In this one, it's a costume. And of course, this is Miriam from Hey Arnold. Wonderful character. I actually got to do a video on her sometime because she was very, there was a lot of interesting things to talk about, namely because she was an alcoholic depicted on a children's TV show. And she had her moments where she grew and was dynamic and changed for the better. Every time Hey Arnold comes up, I always say that it was interesting about how by the end of the series, the Patakis were the one that were the family that grew the most in terms of coming to terms with just their faults and their ambition and what they needed to do. And again, this is just kind of like, I don't know if it's a kind of a boring pose. I think this one was drawn in the, I drew this one in the lobby. And I souped it up with a little bit of more color splashing, making it seem like the alcohol or the smoothie or whatever is kind of just kind of bobbing everywhere. I like the outfit and, of course, the lampshade, which is the universal symbol for partying a little too hard. What did I do something with her last year? No, I did not. So, yeah. Color choice was pretty good. The blues playing off of the greens, which maybe the greens get a little lost. But, yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, I hate to, the truth of the matter is that she was a mess on the show. She was also depressed, too. Which is, she's not a fun drunk, I guess you'd say. But, and I hate to kind of depict her like that. I mean, I like seeing her happy. But again, if it's coming from a problem, I don't know. But the good news is that she got better in the show proper. And they're going to have a new Hey Arnold movie coming soon. Hopefully we'll see more of her and Helga and everything else. I hope they get her back. I hope she plays some sort of role. I hope it's not just the kids on the trip and everything. But anyway, Mummy Miriam. And again, like I said, before that, this was the mummy. The Mrs. Katswell was the mummy. And again, I was drawing for 4chan at this time period in my life, so you could totally tell. But yeah, I'm kind of happy with the way this one turned out. I mean, it's a little lively. I tried to make it look like she was dancing, even though it's like kind of more or less boring pose. I did like how I was able to play with just also the perspective in this things. So, Maurice LaMarche voiced King Bob, or Beeper Bob, Bob the Beeper King. Which by the end of that series, he was selling cell phones, which shows you how long that series, or I think that series only ran for like 4 seasons, so that shows you how long beepers were around, and then how that transferred immediately into cell phones. But enough of that. Let's see. Let me find my keys here. Oh, this one was fun. This one was a bit tricky because it was one of the first monsters that I was like, okay, well, how am I actually going to pull this off? This is Debbie from Robot Boy. A sort of a Cartoon Network series that ran a little bit. It had its moments. It was kind of like, I think it was from Canada or France, and they just imported it. So, and then, gave it an English dub, of course, which just happens from time to time on Cartoon Network. I was like, okay, blob, how am I going to do? And there was one episode where Debbie, and again, I didn't. I barely changed the shape of this. She had had a very pronounced backside on the show. They made jokes about it. But there was one episode where they were stuck in a traffic jam, and one of the villains was dressed up like a Girl Scout and was selling cookies to them. And she was like, "Oh no, she evidently had a problem with cookies and eating them, and it showed in the episode." She didn't gain any weight or anything. It was just like, oh, she just couldn't stop eating the cookies, and she actually fought the kids off for them. So I just depicted a whole bunch of cookie boxes empty in a sort of blobby, nebulous space with dripping goo and a blobby background and her dripping. These are cookies. These are cookies. The first thing people said when they saw this was, a few people said, "Oh, like pizza." And I was like, oh yeah, that color scheme really is something you'd see in pizza. And it doesn't help that this is supposed to be semi-transparent, and it's supposed to be the cookies that she's already eaten. But they do look like pepperonis now that people mention it. And even the cookies on the box, they don't... They look like from a distance, they look like they could be pizzas. Although the size of them right here, it should be like they're cookies. Hey, Paladin. How's it going? But again, I'm sort of happy with the way this one turned out. Again, I was really happy with what I was able to... the connection I was able to make, the leaps in logic in order to get the monsters to fit with the moms and make it work. Sometimes the color schemes didn't match up. This one worked out great because the blob is red, traditionally in the monster movies. But, I'm kind of happy with this one. Oh, I know, I drew this one in a Walgreens. I started this one in a Walgreens. Because we were there waiting for a prescription for a really long time. So, yeah, this is something I just drew there. I'm proud of just kind of being able to go from place to place to place and being like, okay, well, I guess I'll just finish some artwork here. There's a famous pencil zen thing that I like to think of whenever I get too uppity and saying oh, I can't work on this without my computer or my screen or my second screen or something like that. And it's it was made to the tune of you could quit your job, you can sit in a room, you can focus, you can say you're gonna get rid of all your distractions, but the only way you can actually make art is if you make art. And you can do that in a mine or a bomb shelter or in the most dingiest of places. The point is just to keep on working. And that really that was the method for this whole expedition. And I learned a lot of things. It was fun because I learned a bunch of different techniques to use. So that was fun. Again, started in a Walgreens, came home, and then just finished it up. Okay, yeah, this one's the cheekiest, pun intended. I don't know. I just started drawing this one. It was Patricia Rabbit from the Looney Tunes show. Lola's mom, again, another kind of fan favorite. I don't know what I was doing. I just started drawing it, and I was like, oh, well, I guess she's naked, which is okay because they're naked. Bugs and Daffy are naked on the show. Girls aren't, but that's okay. Very Joe Lasco inspired. If you look up him and see what he's all about. Again, cheesecake drawer extraordinaire. This one was hard because it was I just have to say this one is probably the hardest because it was the creature from the Black Lagoon. And again, I chose this color scheme, or this color scheme was randomized. So, yeah, it's just... I mean, it worked out because the blackest part looks like the Black Lagoon. I like to imagine that this takes place under a blood moon or like a blood red harvest moon, and that's why it's colored that way. And again, I just drew the pose. I think it worked out with some of the, like some of the body, the limbs being submerged, and she's looking up. I'm trying to think about what to say. It was hard because she's already a rabbit. And you're thinking like, okay, well, blend the rabbit with another creature. I sort of did that with the webbed feet, and then hands, and the ears, and even the tail, and then the bushy things around the cheeks. But, yeah, I don't know. That was just hard, and it was just a matter of just doing it. Just like, okay, well, don't put too much thought around this one. Just make something. And again, I just kind of gave her more fishy features and hoped it worked out. It did. I like the pose. This is more of I like the use of space in better than a lot of the other ones I've made. And again, this one got a lot of. This one made the rounds, in terms of favorites and shares and things like that. But again, check out Joe Lasco. He's pretty good. This one is, this is the cheesiest of the cakes, and when in terms of what I did. I actually drew this one. Should I talk about it? I actually drew this one about like 2 days before the whole Chris incident where he left the show over sexual harassment that apparently was going on for a couple decades. But show's still good. I hope it's like a Clarence situation. But where the show is actually really good because of the staff on staff. There's no, you can't say staff on staff. The staff is the staff. But yeah, this is Rita as a pirate. Again, this was sort of getting to the bottom of the barrel, again, pun intended, of the last few entries for the costumes. But I think this one worked out pretty good. Again, this one was drawn in the waiting room. And I kind of just looked at a few references and did a few drawings. I think, if you can believe it, I think her fanny is actually a little bit too small compared to what's in the show, or maybe the head's a little too big. I don't know, but I like the pose. The color scheme. This color scheme was a real pain because I didn't really have a shade to depict her skin, but that's okay because the orange worked out pretty well between breaking up the background between her skin. I mean, it's sorta. I mean, sometimes it blends in, but people were able to figure out what she was from and who she was. And I like the pose. I like the treasure chest. I like the ship in the background. And this skull, again, I had a lot of negative space with this one, and I had to fill it up with the sun, the Skull Island, which was I really liked. I thought that was a high five. I gave myself a high five when that. Because it was like, okay, what do I do to fill this space up, and then the ship in the background for scale, because it looks like that's a monumental skull cave in the background, which is pretty cool. Pirates are pretty Halloween-y. Other than people, it's a really cheap costume for people to come up with. You just tie a bandana around your head. In fact, that was a joke. That was a thing in Monster House, where they literally just take the soot that's on them when the house explodes and wipe it around their face and just say, okay, well, let's go trick-or-treating. So yeah, this one was fun. And of course, people came up with a joke that, her children are her true treasure, or she's got plenty of booty already. Ha ha ha. Hey, JMD, how's it going? So that one was fun on a sandy bun. Oh, this one was great. I think this one's also one of my favorites. I spent a lot of time on this one. Just sort of playing with space and figuring out. This one was one of the earlier ones as well. This is a character from a show called Puccini. Again, I think it's like either an Italian or a Canadian. It didn't really... I'm trying to think. I don't even remember it being on TV. I discovered it. I discovered it on the internet, YouTube. And it was starring Billy West. He did a bunch of voices. He played like the dad, and he played Puccini himself, which was this dog who talked and had his own issues. It was kind of reminiscent of maybe something that would have come on like really early in the morning, just like to fill in the hours. But some people knew who this was instantly, and some people didn't know. The idea is that she is a werewolf, and she is terrorizing poor Puccini, who's hiding in his little doghouse. That's his signature bone and circle that is always over his doghouse. And again, I'm very minimal. I'm happy with the way I was able to choose what I was doing with the red. It's very minimalistic because she does have red lipstick, and that's pretty accurate to how it is in the show. The fullness of it. And she's her face. Her hair matches the roundness of her face. Of course, she has a snout and claws and a bare midriff, and the pearls. The scratching around the yard to make it look like she kind of was going crazy and going full on werewolf. Very happy with the way that turned out. And again, playing with different shapes. I think this is really on display here because you got like flat cut out here, outlines separating the shape of her leg or her thighs and hips, played against the background, and then outline here, flat with the hair. It's just like I learned. This one was one of the earlier ones, but I learned a lot from it, which makes it one of the more important ones out of all these. And again, I'm just happy the way it turned out. Good use of space to depict, make it look like it's like she's going crazy in the backyard, and sort of tell a story. Color choice was also pretty good too. Didn't choose it myself, but I was happy I was able to sort of turn something out of it. I mean, I was happy I got sort of a darkish color black, but the blue, I'm glad I was able to play with that. Let's go. Okay. This one was literally one of the last week, crunch time. Let's go. Let's get this done. Oh, did I? Oh, I was going to show you all this. This is another pirate. This is Alice as a pirate from the year before. Again, sort of the hand kind of floating, a nebulous ocean. I'm kind of happy with the perspective of the boat, but again, I think I've gotten way better. And this is Kim Possible's mom, as a white pumpkin. Again, I was the color choice, the blue and the sort of goldish brown, I was a little concerned. I was like, how am I going to, oh wait, no, there are white pumpkins. That works out fine. This one's actually one of my favorites because, damn, those legs are shapely. And you don't even need the rest of the torso because, damn, it's like I imagine her wearing a bodysuit under this. And of course, white pumpkins. Again, I had a lot of negative space because this was crunch time, last day, get this done kind of thing. Had a lot of negative space. Was able to fill that out with some interesting looking branches and make it look like leaves and the white and everything. So yeah, it's just, again, I'm surprised this one was one of my favorites, considering that it was just oh god, I know what I did with this one. there was a period where Grandma wanted to get new hearing aids. So she went one time. We went one time to Costco, got the hearing aids, went back again a few days later to have them readjusted, and then went back again to get them returned, and then she's going to go see a specialist because they've told her that her ear holes are way too small for standard hearing aids. So, yeah, that's something. So, I spent like hours at Costco just wandering around doing this, and this is one of the things I drew there. And again, she is adorable. She's got that. I don't think I draw enough Kim Possible girls. There's sort of a nice. They got a really attractive face. When like I first I was like, oh, I got to put eyelashes, and I was like, no, I'll just stay with the show, and it looks pretty cool. And again, she's just adorable. But anyway, let's see. There's that. Oh, wow. This one, I think other people really liked this one. And it turned out much better than I even imagined it would. Sort of an overlapping. This is, of course, Queen Moon from Star Versus. Another Star Versus character. Maybe I should have thinned it. Well, actually, no. I put 40 moms on the list, and these two just happen to overlap. Marco's mom and Star's mom. Again, kind of creepy with the... well, first of all, the color choice. I had this pink and this sort of gold outline. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be hard. But I just kind of isolated the golds and the browns together and then isolated the pinks together. And that sort of worked out a lot. And of course, you got this black that was in the color selection too. So, Scarecrow, it's kind of tender because you get the idea. Like, here's a jack-o'-lantern. It looks like Star, and there's Moon Butterfly, and she's like, holding her, like her daughter. It's symbolism. It's like a mother's love. And I was like, oh, that's actually really heartwarming. And for some reason, I just gave her X's for eyes, because that's kind of Scarecrowish, and that's kind of unnerving. Like, there's a sweetness, and then there's also this unnerving side. It's almost like the show itself, where it's like, oh, it's kind of sweet, but it's like, ooh, whoa, this maybe it went a little too far. And again, Scarecrow, which worked out great because she had that kind of hair, and she has a thinner figure than any of the other moms on the list. So, yeah, I thought that worked out pretty well on that. And again, this was just going to be a regular pumpkin, and I was going to have it not have the face and hope people got it, but then I added the face, and then people were like, okay, well, that's definitely Star. So, again, this is definitely one of my favorites. I wouldn't have chosen pink as the background, but that's kind of Moonish. That's like kind of a fantasy world. Again, a lot going on with this one. This is probably like easily in the top 5 of things that I've done this year. And things that I've done with the Momsters. Queen Scarecrow was the file name that I put on there. Yeah, that just worked out really good. No, let's go. Oh, my back. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, this one's pretty fun. This one was Rigby's mom. I think, what was her name? She has a name, and oh, crap. Hold on. She has a name, and I added it on there. I forget what it is. It's like Barbara. That's it. It's Barbara. Now, there's a joke in the series, or there's a joke that I made earlier. I drew this character before, and there's a joke in the family, the Rigby's family, that say, "Give me some sugar," and it means a hug. So when the list came up with Spider, I was like, okay, well I could do something with that. I don't have to make her like a giant mutant spider. I can make her something with one of those like goofy costumes where her. She's got these, 4 other fake arms that move along with her hands. And it's like she's opening up to get a big hug. I think her tail might be a little bit too long. I don't know. I went with a bunch of different references, and they had multiple tail lengths. And also multiple haircuts, too. The colors, I don't know. They work out okay. I mean, I think you can see what's going on here. And again, I was able to play with the negative space, fill it up with spider webs, and then add a little spider in case it wasn't 100% sure that you didn't know what it was about. One thing that kind of is a little unnerving is that as a raccoon, she would be hairy. But the textures that they use in the show make it look like she just has really almost Aunt Patty and Aunt Patty and Aunt Selma hairy legs. I can't put that out of my head, but Oh, and when she first showed up in the show, everyone sort of took attention of her because I think I didn't do much with this. I didn't do much with the pronounced chest. She had a figure, and she was cute. The Thanksgiving episode, I think she showed up, which everyone was expecting her to be short, like Rigby. Rigby's just a tiny, tiny guy. But anyway, very happy with the way this turned out. The color, the color of the skin and the color of the these are 3 different color greens. I don't know how people choose their different color schemes, but they could have done a better job at this one because it's that's a different green in the background. This is sort of like a different green, and then maybe I could have added a line to make that a little bit more. To just make that pop a little bit, but I think it worked out okay. Let's see. Let's close this. Let's move forward. This one, again, I was surprised how I was able to sort of pull out what I was able to pull out at the last minute. This was the second to last one. This is, of course, Maddie Fenton as steampunk. And I just gave her I gave her a little steampunk outfit with the stripes and the puffy shirt and the hat and the glasses with one third superfluous lens that doesn't do anything, but it's always there because it's steampunky. And she has the haircut for it. And again, people really like the sort of the ghost backpack or the gun. I took note of a few designs that I found on online. There's one gun specifically. I stole this top part. Someone modded a Nerf gun, and it had this little thing specifically on top. And I was like, oh, that's actually interesting. I added, of course, the 3 lenses. And then just the boxy design, and then a little gauge, and then a light bulb on the top, and then of course steam coming out the back. And she's got thigh-high boots, and then steam going everywhere. So I was like, oh, well, this one's actually pretty good. Now let's compare this one to the earlier steampunk one I did. Again, a lot of negative space around here. I could have, and then she's floating, which is not good. I could have maybe brought her forward a little bit and just hit her ankles or something. Again, it's more or less. It looks stranger if I drew the whole thing, because again, I had all that negative space to work with. But the color choice was specifically very nice, very Ghostbusters-ish. And I think something that could actually work on the show. And she's got a choker with some sort of a jewel or polished stone right there. So, and then big thick gloves. It's sort of reminiscent of her regular outfit if she were to wear something like that in Victorian age. Like she wears pants and big big boots, big thigh-high boots, and then big cumbersome gloves, and then glasses where you can't see her eyes. But anyway, this one was fun, and I was surprised. I'm glad I was able to kind of just pull that out. Again, third to get done. Very proud of that. Okay. This one was interesting. So on the list, there was superhero. I added superhero on the list because, again, I was like running out of ideas. And then I also added Helen Parr because I'd be crazy not to include Helen Parr on the list. Elastigirl. And then lo and behold, as the list dwindled up and as the moms dwindled up, it was just a match. And so I was like, okay, well, rather than just re-roll things, I'm going to go with it. So the whole premise is like she's won first place for a Halloween contest. But, she is like Mrs. Incredible or Elastigirl. So it's kind of like, again, the color choice here might have been a little bit of a mistake, or maybe I should have gone with the black for depicting the skin. But I think it worked out pretty okay. But it's like she's got this sheepish like look on her face, like, I gotta play along. I won first prize at a Halloween contest. So it was like, I guess I have strong opinions about cheating, but I have stronger opinions about laying low and protecting my family. So I guess I do make a pretty good Elastigirl, don't I? Hee. Ooh, oh my. Let's see. I did do one of her earlier. It doesn't even look like her. I was like, when I looked this up like a year, like this is 2 years ago, and I think I did this in like maybe 2 hours. And it's like, okay, well, I'll just draw it. And other than like the figure, which a million other women have that like pronounced animated cartoon butt. Other than that, the face doesn't even look like Helen Parr. This one's, her face is actually pretty roundish, and her hair is like got that specific kind of curl. Again, I look back on this and this doesn't even look like her. So I'm happy with the progress I've sort of made, and it's and even just this idea of like her having to be her on Halloween. So again, that was fun. Let's move forward to again. This one was again last week crunch. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Now on the list, I had Mitzi from what is it? It's Mitzi from see you, Joe. Mitzi from Shin-Chan, which is an animated anime, I guess you'd call it. It's a show from Japan. Adult Swim ran it. I remember it being an Adult Swim. Apparently Funimation also brought it over, but they dubbed it to make it like more of a kid's show, which it wasn't in Japan. It was sort of like an adult show about like this little kid who like did weird, stupid stuff. He had a butt dance and things like he got up to like really, really shenanigans. But on the list I had dressed like another mother. So I was like, okay, if I rolled that as a choice, I'd have to, dress him up as some sort of other famous pop culture mother on the list. And I was like, well, I've already drawn Helen Parr as Elastigirl, and I don't want to do Marge, and I don't want to do Wilma, because those are always so generic. So in keeping with like a Halloween, I thought of Other Mother from Coraline. And it was really easy to just sort of give her these button eyes, and then play it with the perspective a little bit, you know, just for funsies, where she's just kind of, it looks like she's looking up at you, but you're also really close to her face. And again, here's the dog with button eyes, so that worked out perfectly. Again, this one was sort of a quick one at the tail end of everything. No background to speak of, but that's okay, because sometimes there's this big dance sequence at the end of the episode, and it has just colors and shapes. So this actually works out pretty good. And again, you should definitely check out Shin-Chan. Check out the Adult Swim dub, which is hilarious. In order to be a man, you must have honor, and a penis. Shin-Chan 2012? 2000... No, I think I was actually watching that on Adult Swim when I was in college. Actually, no, on Adult Swim, their website. But anyway, yeah, this one was fun and interesting. And I was able to, again, last minute kind of pull it out. I think that this color actually matches her sweater pretty good. And again, able to kind of create a new kind of shape, or a new kind of distinction between the solid line to break away from the background. I think it works a little bit better this time than it did in all the other ones. And of course, the dog is a little extra creepy. So this one was fun. Oh yes, Mrs. Torto. This is the mom from Weekenders. She has a name. Is it on here? No, I just put Tito's mom. The mom from Weekenders. This was fun. This was really fun. I did her earlier. Let me just get that out of the way. I did her in an earlier year. I did her as the creature from the Black Lagoon, except it was just her in a kind of swimsuit. With little fin hair and scaly swimsuit, and it was okay. I liked this one was one of the better ones from the earlier ones, because it had the shading, and it looked like it was taking up space, and it was playing with the position and pose of the character. This is a little bit more on model. Let's see. I don't think she has a first name. I think she was literally called Tito's mom or Tino's mom, or Mrs. Tone. Oh, whatever. But again, the costume was skeleton, and so I was like, okay, how do I do this? And she was very multicultural in the show, so it would make sense that she would maybe want to dress up as a sort of Dia de los Muertos skeleton, with kind of the eyes and the skeleton makeup and the suit with the kind of decorative pattern. And of course, she was also always making some sort of weird dish, some sort of weird that's one of the running gags in the show. Tito would come home and they'd always have a conversation over not, I'm thinking ragweed, but there's something else, like milkweed or something like that. Some sort of weird dish, some sort of weird hippie crap. I think she was actually Wiccan. I think I remember them celebrating the solstices. So that was interesting. And very progressive for Disney at the time. And I was proud of the billows of skeleton or skeletal, billows of smoke coming from her concoction, signifying that it probably didn't taste good, at the very least. The colors with this one were very nice, very appropriate for the costume, the idea I wanted to depict. The yellows and the reds play off very nicely with each other, and the blues are really good too. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. Not top 5, but definitely within the top 10, I'd say. Wilma. This one was interesting. This one was Ghost. And the idea I came up with was, what if, I came up with Haunted Museum. I was like, oh, okay, well, what if she's like a fossil in like a natural history museum? And it would be like, okay, well, and then her ghost is haunting her skeleton, or her fossil, as it were. So this is her skull. It just goes down to her rib cage, and then her exhibit is. And again, I know I'm triggering some people with the idea that humans would exist with, the mollusks and the shellfish and the different things that predate humanity by millions and billions of years. But it was a way of signifying that this was a big hunk of fossil. And of course, her display is Afropithecus nagalatus. Nagalatus. I don't think people really caught on to that, but I liked it. And the design of the ghost was very simple. Just basically her outline, her design with just simple outlines. I think the only variation of color I have is right here for her lips. And then to fill in the negative space produced by everything else, I just put like ghostly vapors, which actually worked out pretty well. Yeah, this one's pretty good. And again, I'm happy I was able to like, do I just want to draw Wilma as a ghost and be like, ooh, well, ghost Wilma? And it's like, no, I got to think of something a little bit better than that. And I was able to yank out the idea of fossil. And I was like, yeah, great, fossil. I'll run with it. And so I'm very happy with this one. Visually, it's not my favorite. But in the idea, it's very nice. And again, it is kind of spooky. I like the idea of a haunted museum of natural history. Oh, there was like a level like that in the Evil Dead Boomstick video game for the PS2, where Ash went into a museum and had to fight like not caveman zombies, but like different zombies from different periods of history. Not zombies, deadites, pardon me. So again, I think I like this one. I think it's cool. Willow from A Kind of Magic. This one is definitely French, and I really do love the series. I like the design of the series more than I like the actual series itself. The studio that made this worked on The Daltons, which is a spin-off of Lucky Luke. And I actually like that series a whole lot better. It's about a family of sort of fairy tale creatures who have to live in modern times, basically. And their mother is a fairy. And the monster, or the monster in the list was Black Cat. So it's like, okay, this is great. And at first I figured whoever I was going to choose, I would just put them in like one of those little sexy Black Cat outfits, with the tail, and they have the head and the little ear hair clip things. I was like, okay, well this one was way more interesting, because it's like, okay, well, she turned herself into a cat, and I was able to play with the shadow. And it is very urban, because they're still in the city, and so it's like a back alley. She's a cat. She's got her signature wand. Her hair kind of matches the shape of her whiskers as a cat. So I was like, this is actually pretty neat. And it was also pretty easy, because I drew the cat, I drew the shadow, and I drew the background. I think this one took a lot less than all the other ones, but it's still effective. At least the execution. And again, I highly recommend that you can watch It's a Kind of Magic. It's almost like a I would say it's like akin to like the French Fairly Odd Parents. But watch The Daltons. I think that was actually a better show from this series. They also made Space Goofs and a bunch of other different great stuff. French animation's like the best. I've really gotten into it. Ziggy Sharko. Go check that out. With Maria. Good night, Becky. See you some other time. But again, Willow as the Black Cat. Oh, and apropos, I got this. This one was done just in time for Friday the 13th. So that was great. I'm glad I got this one done. I'm glad it worked out. Again, just kind of things falling into place. Let's move on to Becky and the costume. Again, it sort of worked out great because the entry in the list was vintage Halloween costume. Like, on the internet or like on Tumblr or Twitter, how they'll like show like there's two types of classic Halloween costumes. There's like the super creepy black and white costumes where like people were just tying like bags of crap around their faces and like just like nightmare fuel crap, like stuff out of Silent Hill. Or you have these nice printed or illustrations of women wearing just these like almost just wearing dresses. Like they're more Halloween themed dresses than they are actual costumes. And that's what this is. I mean, it's like they had a lot of stars. They did a lot of things with bats. They often wore masks, just like those little masquerade masks. There was often, I gave her one single bat wing because I thought that would be like weird and very in keeping with those costumes. And then of course the sash with just the bats on it. I really like that. And again, very lucky to have this as the color choice because it just worked out great. The blues and the orange, it worked out great. And again, I had negative space down here at the bottom. Had to fill it with something, so I made a classic jack-o'-lantern and bobbing for apples, golden delicious apples. I don't draw Becky enough. She's pretty adorable. And I think this one was this is one of the better drawings to come out of the physical therapy lobby. Because again, I was in the lobby, I had to make a drawing, and I just did this one, and it worked out pretty nice. And she's got the hair for it. Again, it was great how some of these costumes matched up. I mean, I'm actually hard pressed to figure out who else would have been good in this outfit. And again, from Tailspin, so yeah. Let's move on to... Hold on a second. Yeah, this is important. Because I did this one last year. I did this character last year. You probably can't even tell who it is. It's supposed to be... it's supposed to be one of the moms from Boondocks. The... oh my god. Oh god, I can't even remember any of the names, damn it. I'm just gonna say it. It's supposed to be the white mom. The white mom who has the cute little daughter. Married the black lawyer. I hate to say this, but I'm trying to think of their name. Richard. No, it's not Richard. Damn it. Why did I forget their names? I haven't seen that show in a long time. But let's see, let me put this up there. You can't tell because the face... I mean, Medusa. I was trying to figure out how to make this play... Yeah, Cindy's mom. There we go. I'll just put Cindy's mom. I was trying to figure out how to... I'm starting to figure out how to depict this as Medusa. And this was actually pretty involved. I think I spent a little bit more time on this one than I did any of the other ones, because I had to like make a shield where there would be a reflection, and you could kind of tell it's her in the face, but the hair, I mean, you got to see that hair in order to tell that it's her. And I kind of tried to make it shaped like it was in the show, because it had that kind of the bang right there. And that's actually pretty creepy. Like all these snakes are coming out of like one multiple notch. I actually like that design. I may use that later, or you guys can feel free to use that later. Again, the background kind of making hints of other statues and Greek ruins, and the moon to fill in this negative space up here. And the pose itself is it's okay. It's very anime-ish. She might be a little bit more muscular than she should be, but I don't know. I've seen the show. They go a little crazy with the design sometimes. Very importantly, she was one of the moms to be featured in a previous year. Oh God, I like the design, and I like the fact that I drew her. I got her hair right. She's a robot, of course. But again, a lot of negative space that I didn't know what to work with in the previous years. Again, this was like 1 year where I maybe got like 7 out, and then I just had to quit because I wasn't getting enough done on other things. By the way, the video I put out this October, it's really taken off. I'm really surprised about it. I mean, I'm not surprised. I worked hard on it, but I'm just I'm appreciative of it. But anyway, I think this one is actually pretty, like, really, really nice in terms of just the staging and what's going on here. I could have made it a little bit more clear who it was, but again, I was just going for a little bit of variety. Oh, actually, maybe. Well, this one was the last one, and I loaded all these files, and they're just in alphabetical order. But yeah, let's go with this one. Damn, this was nice, and people really did like it. This is Peg from Goof Troop, of course, and she got Devil. And it was like, oh, that's awesome. That's great. I was thinking, okay, well, I'll put her in a sexy devil outfit. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit understated. Because in the show, she was a real estate agent. So I was like, okay, well, I'll put like a for sale sign and then have like her holding a contract with a big... And again, the color choice was like perfect. I lucked out immensely. So it was like... She's got a contract. She's got this like really menacing grin. She's got like the idea is like, is this a costume or is it not a costume? And of course, I don't think anyone's ever mentioned it, but she is throwing up the horns. She's not holding the contract normally. She's just throwing up the she's throwing up the horns a little bit like that. And again, the cocked way she's standing, it was like really nice. This one was like, actually I'm pretty proud of this being the finale. And again, the colors worked out fantastically for this one. Yeah, sure, Matt, throw up the drawing. It's interesting because you can totally see Pete being like this, because in the show she was actually like pretty honest and straightforward. Pete was the wheeler and dealer, or the kind of scam artist. He was the one who was selling used cars, and she was the real estate agent. She could be devious when she wanted to, but I don't think she'd actually do anything like this with like selling someone a bum house or like, tricking someone into the contract. But again, it was too perfect not to ignore that connection between, oh, she's a salesperson and it's the devil. And again, it was just like, I'm actually really surprised I was able to pull this off. The very last day, I think I got up that morning, that Halloween morning, and was able to just get this out there. I'm trying to think. Do I have Peg in this? No, I do not. I do not have Peg in the earlier years. Out of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't even have enough for half of what I did this year, for the last 2 years combined. But let's see. Yeah, this one was really nice. It was a great finale and a good into the run of this series. And also Seiya 2.0. It's got rulers. It's got vector shapes. It's got words. It's got letters. You guys, if you're looking for a good drawing program, I suggest you just pay $50 and get yourself a license for Paint Tool Seiya version 2, because it really is nice, guys. But anyway, let's see now. Let's go to this. Let's close that. Oh, robot. Speaking of robot, this one was I'm actually really, really proud of this one. So I put robot, and then of course I've got Delia Ketchum from Pokemon. And I'm very proud of what I was able to do here because, is it Seiya or Saya? Either one of those. The idea here is that, of course, Team Rocket has built a robot duplicate of Delia, and you can tell because of the RR on her cheeks, like Team Rocket. And obviously, she was designed to snatch up Pikachu, to obtain Pikachu and then bring it back to Team Rocket headquarters or whatever. And of course, I was able to fit in the ghost element of the series by having her mistake Pikachu, or mistake, what is it called? The Mimikyu? Mimikyu? She mistakes Mimikyu for Pikachu. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I got the ghost Pokemon in there. And I got Pikachu in there, and I filled up all the negative space, and I made it seem, people were like really taken back by the cock and the neck, making it look like, like something's like really kind of wrong with her. Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formula only, or whatever that is. Delia, I did her the year before. She was a genie in the years before that, and again had to do something with the negative space. Kind of did this is actually kind of like the gestation, or the wow okay, that's actually a little bit too much. And her face has got this weird angle to it, but this was the one of the previous years, and I did her kind of like as a genie. And she's also surrounded by ghost Pokemon. I try to fit in ghost Pokemon in there. This one's actually pretty good, but I like this one better. And again, the color, I don't think this would have worked out any better if I didn't get the right colors for it. And again, I lucked out on some of these colors. I lucked out on, and some of them I really didn't. But this one was great. I think this one is like in the top 5 of some of my favorite ones. Okay. Okay, this is Emma from another French comic, or another French show called Lou, L-O-U, exclamation point. I did her twice, like once this year, and then the previous year. I'll show you what the details in this one. I got Zombie for her. It's funny, she's kind of like a slacker she's kind of like a slacker mom in the cartoon. I mean, she loves her daughter. The comic mainly focuses around the daughter, and she loves her daughter. She'll do anything for her, but she also kind of just sits around the house and plays they have a Dreamcast in the series, so you know when this was made. She plays around, plays video games. They kind of just eat pizza whenever they can. I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy, kind of not happy with how I was able to play with the colors here and the shadings and the form, because you can totally tell she's a zombie with the cracked glasses and the kind of the flesh rotting away. That might be a little bit too much, but she also just kind of sits around and, you know, in her socks all day, and she's got like laundry all over the place, which is something that happens in the show. So it's like, oh, okay, well, she's not like a mindless, horrible zombie, but she is sort of like how she was when she was alive. She is depicted with almost no eyes. Her in the series proper, she just has her hair and then her glasses over her hair. Her bangs are no, those aren't stink lines. That's her spider sense. No, those are stink lines. I'm actually very proud of the jaw, the teeth lines there. So yeah, I'm kind of happy, kind of not happy. I was like, I can sort of play with this maybe a little bit more, but I put in enough time with it as I think I needed to. Here's the one thing that I came out with, like, I think the year before that, and it's kind of actually boring. What the hell even happened? What is this? It's a square. I didn't even adhere to the rules I was having. This is her again, sticking with the pizza theme, and she's got a pizza cutter, and it's all bloody. This could be a Halloween costume, or it could be real. She has a very large chest in the comics, so I didn't go overboard with this. You can even look it up yourself. Lou, I think, L-O-U or L-U-O. It's 3 letters, and it's a good comic, and it's a good little show too. I think I put a link into the description when I posted this on let's see. Into the. I'm sorry, I got lost. I'm reading the comments. In the description when I posted this on DA. Well, you know, Herbert, most of the progress just comes from, okay, let me just calm down and actually think about this is a rush job. This is just rush. I think most of the progress came from, okay, let me just take a breath. Let me just work with what I got and rework it a little bit, which is something my teacher used to tell me. She says, you know, if you're going to put an hour's worth of work into something, you might as well just try and rework it until it's something you like. She never abandoned a project. She may have set it aside. She may have tinkered with it a little bit later. But she said, oh, you know, if you want to, put a little bit more effort and see if you can't get something good out of it. But yeah, thank you. I'm happy with the progress I've made this year. We're winding down a little bit. Let me see, how many more do I have? I think we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 more. Okay, the next 5 are this one. This one was weird. I added it to the list, not expecting to even get it. This is Fran Sinclair from Dinosaurs. You know, the Jim Henson like puppet video movie, the TV series. This one, again, I got her and I got Fortune Teller. which was like, okay, well, I guess I could sort of do something like that. This one was just like nothing really fancy, just her with a crystal ball wrapped around her tail. The fanciness actually comes from the design and working with the shadows and everything. I'm very happy with the way this one turned out, even though the special or the uniqueness from this comes from the kind of detail that I was able to work into it. With the hands, and then make it look like it's actually very puppetish. Now, that being said, I wanted to show you guys a little trade secret that I had. The way I was able to get this one done fairly quickly. I'm going to minimize this stuff real quick. The way I was able to get that done was I made a 3D puppet of it. I made a... I went into Sculptress and I actually sculpted her out first. And then I imported her into Blender, and then I was able to pose her and then sort of export her back into Sculptress and then rework the details a little bit better. This turned out really, really well, and I may use this in future projects. In fact, I did use this in previous projects, mainly with like buildings and stuff like that. But I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I make it look as much of like a Jim Henson puppet as possible? And so I was like, okay, well, I will literally just sculpt it and see what I can make out of it. And again, very sort of proud with this technique. I almost started to just paint, like do like a like digital painting on it. And I've seen other people do this. Like there's this one mermaid pic on the internet that I saw, and someone like was showing how they used a human base that they sculpted first, and then they sculpted a tail, and then just kind of painted over it. I could probably do that some other time, but yeah, I was really happy with the way this turned out. And again, I just kind of went over it a little bit, added the shading and the details, and so yeah, that turned out great. And again, that's the unique part about this one, I would have to say, is that I used a model for it. But again, I was like, okay, well, I want to make sure it looks as much like an actual puppet dinosaur as possible. So I made like a goofy model, and it worked out great. So that might be a technique you might be seeing in the future from me. Now let's go one more. Okay, this one was very basic. This one is definitely a waiting room drawing. This is the mom from Foxtrot. This is Andy Foxtrot, short for Andrea, I found out. And without her hair, you can't really tell which one she is. She looks a little bit like her teenage daughter. But, yeah, I kind of just... Elf was on the list. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do it an elf from the Lord of the Rings movie. And then I'll put in, like... I did, like, those weird, like, the weird birch trees that they have in there. I'm kind of happy with the way this is. I mean, it's very simple. It's more of like let's get this one done. Actually, I'm kind of happy that I was able to draw her in a bit of a different way, because when you look at the comic strips, I mean, I love Foxtrot. I really, really do. But all the angles are either from the side, the profile, or straight on. And I'm kind of happy with what I was able. And I guess the idea is that she is giving out candy. She's not trick or treating. She's giving it out. yeah, this is kind of nice. Very simple. Hey, good night, Condor. Very simple, but I wouldn't, maybe I would have done things a little differently. Maybe I would have, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I would have added her son, because her son, I know, is a big Lord of the Rings fan. Maybe I would have added him as Bilbo Baggins or something like that. I don't know. But other than that, it got the job done. And it still, I think it still matches the style of the comic. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. It got the job done. And good color choice, too. So, you know. Let's see. What's the next one? Oh, this one was a surprise. I'm surprised I was able to pull this one out. There was a point for like the last couple days of the month where I was doing things and I had to come home and make something like this. I just pulled this out of almost nowhere. It was Fran, and it was, I mean, not Fran. Yeah, Francine. Francine from American Dad, and the monster was Psycho. So, I was like, okay, well, how am I going to pull this off? And at first, I like drew her with a hockey mask on, and I had a chainsaw in her hand. I was like, no, I'll just use a knife. And then I thought of the episode where she gets burned by acid. Remember that episode of where she starts to work in Stan's office, and one of the co-workers gets jealous and like burns her face with acid, and she's got like this real creepy melty face that the joke is they don't show it for the whole episode, and then you get this horrific shot of her at the very end before she gets plastic surgery. So I don't know, I guess the idea is that she's just wearing like a creepy lifeless mask of herself, but it cracked at some point, and you can see what it looked like as that, you know, that creepy melty face thing. And again, that's sort of like the thing you would see in a slasher horror movie. So I was I was like, oh wow, I'm able to I pulled it off. It's like, again, the crunch sort of brought out all this creativity that I didn't know I had. And again, it sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm more or less just flabbergasted at myself. I'm legitimately stunned I was able to like just do things. This looks like Pepto-Bismol, but I think everyone gets the idea that this is a knife. You know, that's blood, and you know, and she looks kind of all scarred up, and then the face is peeling or cracking. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one, just because of the short time I spent on it. I think it was really nice. And again, able to kind of use things that happen in the show and then plug them in with things that. With the monster themes. Is this the last one? No, this is the second to last one. This is Marge, and this was Jeannie. This is like one of the first ones I did. In fact, I think I did this in the summer. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this year, and I'm going to do it right, so I'm going to get a head start. I did like this one and the Katswell one, and then I stopped. I started working on commissions and other things and videos, and I was like, okay. So I got 2 out. No, 3. 3. I did the Puccini, so I got 3. Although this one's pretty nice. And again, I was a little hard-pressed to figure out how to depict a genie. Hello, Neb. How's it going? But the hair coming from the bottle and the smoky mist and the parachute pants with the silhouette, and the silhouette over the smokiness of her figure. That at first this wasn't anything. This was just the smoke over her body. And I was like, okay, well, I could do a little better. And then added that. Again, this was one of the earlier ones, playing with the shade in this one. Yeah, it's very, and then the perspective. Again, very happy with this one. Not like maybe top 10. Not top 5, but definitely like the top 10. Oh, I'm sorry. Matt. Let me check. Oh yeah, that's a pretty good drawing. I like it. Nice work on the skull and the face plate. Is that like a mask or no? It's not a mask. It's just kind of like a raised ridges and everything. That's pretty cool. Anyway, let's see. But yeah, I was just very happy with this one. But I don't think I think this one is like this next one is like really one of my. Oh, did I do Jean? Did I show you? I didn't do Marge last year. I didn't do anything with Marge last year. Okay. Yeah, this one was the mom from Mighty Max, and that's all she's known as. She doesn't have a name. I even looked it up on the Wikipedia. I even watched a few episodes with her in it. They don't call her anything else but Mom or Mrs. Mighty One or something like that. But this was the mom from Mighty Max, and this was Headless. You know, like the Headless Horseman. Yeah, I think this one's damn near perfect. I love the background, making it look like a graveyard. I love the moon. I love the bats. Like everything about this just screams Halloween. I love the pose and how I was just the foreshortening and the position. The pose. I really like it. And you know, yeah, the teeth could have been a little more clear, but I really I'm really happy with this one. Again, I was getting a little fancy with the lighting effect, trying to make it look like light was coming from a different source. It should have been coming from the moon, but whatever. Who cares? And the cape, I like. Again, this one's definitely in the top 5. Definitely top 5 material. And again, I'm surprised how she wasn't called. Didn't have a name. And I even looked on the website, looked at the Wikipedia. And again, Mighty Max is a great series. You guys should definitely check out. No real connection between her and any episode. It was just like, okay, well, I got Headless and I got Mighty Max's mom, so just run with it. You know, just make anything. I couldn't like make a narrative or a story, so it's just her as a headless horse person. She's not a horseman. She doesn't have a horse in the shots, so you can't say that. But yeah, that is pretty much it, I think. Yeah, we're going straight back into the older other ones. I can show you some of the ones from the previous years, the sort of failure years. This is Willow. I should have showed you this when I was showing her. Again, I never actually draw Willow proper. I always draw silhouettes or something. This was when this was Skeleton. I got Skeleton, so it's kind of like, oh, well, there's her silhouette, and there's her skeleton inside her silhouette. The color choices were actually pretty nice. You got this black, the blues, and then these two bright oranges, which played nicely. Very Halloweenish. I think this is really exaggerated. Like, this was actually pretty exaggerated. But I like the color scheme. And I always remember these colors because it's always very Halloweenish. Let's see. This is the I forget her name, but this is the mom from Meet the Robinsons, and I got Frankenstein, and I decided to oh yeah, that's right, it is my Midnight Radio avatar. And then this is weird because it's not really shape. It's more of pencil drawing. I tried to make it look like more of a movie poster than I did actual like shapes and lines and clean cut. Didn't really do anything else like this. But Children of the Night, what music they make, because of course she experiments on frogs. The theming in this one actually worked out pretty well. Not really. I don't really like the artwork, but I like the idea of it. Actually, I take it back. If I could crop this and just have like a zombie frog, which is like it is an episode of Mina and the Count, a zombie frog, where they bring a dissection frog back to life. But anyway, I like the idea of this more than I like the execution. I showed you that. Here's Wanda as an Alien. I totally forgot to put Alien on the list. That would have been a good one, but maybe next year. Oh hell, I'm not doing this next. Here's Alien. This is Wanda from Baby Blues as an alien girl, and I'm actually kind of proud of this one too, because I was able to give her like a weird amoeba hair to sort of make her seem otherworldly. So that this one was kind of fun. Alien. God, I can't believe I forgot that one on the list. I showed you that one. I showed you this one. Here, I'm going to show you the next three in the order that I like them. Here's Android 18, who was on the list this year. And here she is as like a fairy. As like a dark fairy. I could have maybe done something like this for Maria when I did her fairy design. But I don't think the colors worked out that well. But anyway, yeah, here's like a dark fairy Android 18 with like sparkles and stuff like that. This foot is weird. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like how the face looks like it's all just one. It's kind of anime-ish. Maybe that's what I was going for. Maybe that's what my thought process was at the time. I think my thought process was mainly just, I gotta get something done. Let's see. Let's go with this one. This is Rose from Rose's Rose. Again, what was with this weird outline I had? It's not shaped like anything. Although this is nice. I got Frankenstein for her. Now, if you've ever read Rose's Rose, you'll know that the comic depicts, like them running around in nature, them appreciating the fall, the summer, the winter. So I kind of did this whole thing where it's like, it's like a stormy, overcast fall, but she's a Frankenstein monster and she's still enjoying the autumn. This is the last flower of the season, and she's enjoying the autumn and everything like that. Kind of nice. I don't like the color choice. I mean, I probably would have done things a little bit differently. Now, I mean, she's way too dark compared to the outline. Maybe I would have done. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe. I don't know. I'm sick of color at this point. Of trying to figure out what is what. Maybe I would have done this the exact same. Who knows? But let's see. This one's actually was my favorite for a number of years. This is Trudy from the Proud Family as a werewolf. Very, it's a basic design. It doesn't really hold a candle to Puccini, the Puccini werewolf. But I like how your clothes looks ragged, and she's got like a gnarly werewolf tail, and it's a full moon on a foggy moor. So yeah, this one is probably my top favorite for a number of years. And again, you can find all this stuff at chadroccodeviantart.com if you want to see more and all sorts of just different artwork that I've done. I think that's all of them, and it's all the Momsters I've ever made. Now, that being said, I don't know if I'm ever going to probably... I don't think I'm going to do this. Maybe I'll do this next year. Who knows? Maybe people ask. I am drinking some iced tea because I am very parched. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to tell you other than I had fun making them. People had fun enjoying them. And I just wanted to sort of make a video out of it just to get kind of... put a little bit of a little closure on it, and also just share with you just the process of going through it. Again, I learned a lot of things about this art program, about the different art programs I have on my phone that'll help me, and also just how to use the 3D artwork programs to help me later on. So I think this was a very fruitful endeavor. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I've been talking for about an hour right now, so I think that's good. I'm going to bring up... Let's see, where is she? Yeah, here we go. Here's Peg. There we go. I'll put her up, and then I will tell you all to have a very good night. Thank you all. This was a good Halloween this year, and we can... I gotta go buy extra candy, I guess, or something. It'll linger. Halloween lingers, especially if Halloween takes place in the week of, during one of the weekdays. If it's on the weekend, then it's pretty much dead and gone by the Saturday. But it'll linger on. I gotta go and make. I already have all the videos for next year's list lined up, so that's taken care of. So who knows, maybe I will do something like this again. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. I am done through with my rambling. Have a wonderful November. I'll talk to you all later. We'll probably stream some Hearthstone tomorrow. But anyway, thank you all for joining me and listening to me ramble. Yeah, happy belated Halloween. Good night.